this little segment. So what is it the theoretical time to transmit 1 hour of content over a network? So if you're dealing with frame relay rates, 120 kilobits per second, etc., you're probably not going to be able to move content efficiently. One standard definition hour of content, 88 days. I wouldn't bother with that. So all that red stuff kind of blocks out. Things get very interesting when you're talking about getting a network connection of 10 megabits per second and up. And again, I think everyone's one size fits all. One size does not fit all. It depends on how much content you need to move in and how much time. But what's interesting is if you're going to move an MPEG-2 very high quality standard definition tape on a 10 megabit per second link, you're going to be able to move that in about 5 hours, which is almost a 5-fold improvement over FedEx in terms of time. And then obviously you've got things where if you bought a 100 megabit link, that goes down to 30 minutes. It's faster than real time. We have customers that are moving content in faster than real time. HD programs that are an hour and a half long, moving them in 30 minutes or so. So it is possible. Now, one of the big factors is, what about latency? So if you look at we'll study this a little bit more detail in another segment, but if you look at the latency and the effect it has on your theoretical transmission speeds, that 5 hours is going to go, going from LA to New York, is going to go to 100 hours without some type of compensation for latency, just because of network efficiency, etc. And again, that's outside the scope of this discussion, but we will talk about that in the next one, so stay tuned. But if you add in a Signiant product in our network acceleration technology, you're able to get that back down to around 5 hours. So, the transmission time, these theoretical times can almost be achieved. And so, again, you're talking about really big improvements in the overall speed of being able to get content. And that really affects your overall supply chain, because if you can get it faster, you can produce it faster and get it out there faster. So so these speeds are achievable. Okay, so holy moly, you can now move files fast over networks. What is the cost of the internet bandwidth that you need to move that? So today, this assumes you don't have adequate bandwidth already, and a lot of companies do. And actually being able to manage that bandwidth efficiently is, again, another topic for another day. But if you don't have it, and what is it going to cost you realistically to buy the bandwidth that you require to deliver files? So a T1 today, internet connectivity, $300 per month. And how much bandwidth how much content can you move over that connection in a month? About a half a terabyte. If you go up to about 10 megabits per second, you're talking about $1,500 per month and 3.3 terabytes. Here, if you look on the right, here's the cost per terabyte. And then obviously if you buy an OC3, which a lot of our customers have, it costs $10,000 per month, but you're moving 51 terabytes of content. That is a lot of content, especially when you're talking about the management and distribution of files, and even in the creative process. So it's actually quite cost-effective, actually, when you look at what you're saving from replacing the shipment of tapes. So how do you measure ROI on this? So you look at your investment that you have to make to move to a file-based distribution model, and that includes the software, the hardware, the bandwidth, and the implementation costs. And then you look at what's your marginal cost savings, the cost per tape shipped, the number of tapes shipped per time period. So I ship 10 tapes a day or to 10 locations, or how many, or 50 a month, or 130,000 a month. And we'll talk a little bit more about that again as well. And then you multiply the cost per package or per tape, the number of packages or tapes per month to a given location. And that is your periodic marginal cost savings. So that's what your variable cost is per month because you're shipping tapes. Well, how do you actually calculate your payback period? You divide the investment. So if this initiative costs you $100,000 and your marginal cost, you're spending a $20,000 per week on shipping tapes, you've got about a 5-week payback. So divide your investment by the marginal cost to get the payback period. And in today's economy, getting ROIs of a month or 5 is definitely good business. So what are the rules of thumb for Signia? So in our Signia Media agent solution, our payback period is typically 50 packages to a location. So if you're sending 50 packages a week, your payback will be about a week. If you're sending 50 packages to a location over 50 weeks, it's going to be 50 weeks. In most cases, we're looking at customers that are sending 10 packages a week. So you're talking about 5-week payback periods on some of these opportunities. And then on our Media Exchange, which is our web-based product, it really is tied to people, the number of packages people have to receive or send. And if you look at a person, it's about 20 packages by a person. So if you've got someone who's on the creative side, or my job is to send packages in from the field or news, and that person's doing it, doing 20 packages a month, that's about a 1-month payback period for that particular person. We'll get into this a little bit more, but those are the rules of thumb. So if you're doing agents, it's 50 packages to a location. If you're doing Media Exchange, it's per person, and it's about 20 packages. And a package could include one segment on one tape, or it could include 5 tapes in a single box. So, given that, what are some of the other factors with respect to why shipping tape is no good compared to file-based transfers? So, if you look at the life cycle of a tape, from the production of it, where it has you're consuming energy and pollution and waste material, and the actual production of the plastic and metal tape, the assembly and packaging of it. So people are going to actually have light bulbs on, and you're going to have machines operating, and then you've got packaging that you're putting the tape into, and then you're shipping that to somewhere where you have energy in the form of fuel for boats, and then distribution to the end user, and then the duplication, shipping, ingest, etc. So all along the way, you've got fuel cost. One tape, you think about it as not being that heavy, but you put 130,000 tapes, and you're going all over the world with them. There's a lot of weight there. So let's think about that for a minute. 130,000 tapes per year. How big is that? And I took a look at it. 130,000 tapes is 10,800 feet tall if you stack them all on top of each other. And if you look at the world's tallest building, it's about 2,600 square feet. Excuse me, 126. Excuse me, sorry. It's 2,600 feet tall. So if you stacked the amount of tape that one of our customers produces annually on top of each other, it would be 4 times as tall as the world's tallest building. It's actually not even completed yet. It's somewhere in Dubai. So that's just one customer, one of our partners. So think about that problem multiplied by the entire media and entertainment world. It's just staggering. And we look at delivery times that are in minutes to hours versus days. And at 5 hours, that's a 5 to 10 times improvement in terms of getting your content. And these delays cost you real money. In the case of syndication, we've read studies where if you've actually aired something to broadcast at 10 o'clock at night, and if it's not on your syndication portal or your online store within 12 hours, you're losing revenue every hour after that, because there's a content freshness factor. Some people are going to want to watch the show a week later, but most people want to catch it right away. And so you've got a curve of lost revenue as time goes on. So shipping tapes is not really efficient. Plus, the reality of it is it just doesn't scale. And then overall production, when you're in a project and you're producing content, any delay in the production is going to cost you real dollars when it comes to what's the final cost to produce an episode of a show that's a primetime show. I just read this weekend that the reason why Jay Leno is going to be on NBC every night is because it cost him about $400,000 to produce a show versus $3 million for an hour of a drama. And when you actually put delays into that, you're talking about adding real money to that situation. So let's look at the ROI for a few real examples here. So 130,000 tapes annually. The two customers that we can point to that have that volume to have about 40 locations each. And their cost per month